My name is Harriet Sharkey, and I was 34 years old when my sister decided, over baked ziti and garlic bread, that my son didn't belong in our family. She didn't say it softly. She didn't say it by accident. She laughed. Your child doesn't belong on a family vacation, she said, tilting her wine glass, nails freshly done, eyes already scanning the table for approval. And then she giggled, like she'd just delivered a clever punchline. My 8-year-old son, Caleb, went completely still. The room didn't go quiet. The television kept blaring from the living room. Forks still scraped against plates. My mother hummed under her breath as she stood up to grab more napkins. Only Caleb went silent. We'd been planning the winter vacation for nearly a year. A ski resort in Vermont right after Christmas. 2 cabins right next to each other. A fireplace, hot cocoa, snowmen, tubing, enough space for kids to burn off energy and fall asleep exhausted and happy. I'd handled everything myself. I researched resorts for weeks, filtering through reviews and calling front desks, asking careful questions about accessibility. I made sure they offered an adaptive ski program and confirmed they could accommodate Caleb properly. I paid the deposit out of my own savings to lock in the dates. It wasn't cheap, but I didn't hesitate. This trip wasn't about luxury. It was about belonging. My sister Lauren had said she wanted to help. She always said that. And just like always, the second helping required actual effort. She disappeared. So I handled it. I always did. That Sunday dinner was supposed to be uneventful. My mom made baked ziti. The house smelled like garlic bread and floral perfume sprayed far too heavily. My dad had the football game turned up too loud, yelling at the screen like the players could hear him. Caleb sat beside me, sketching quietly in his notebook. He always brought it with him. Drawing helped him manage the noise, the overlapping conversations, the chaos that everyone else seemed to shrug off so easily. Lauren leaned over, peering at his drawing. Then she laughed. Not a kind laugh, not even an awkward one you make when you don't know what to say. She straightened, looked around the table, and said it clearly enough for everyone to hear. Your child has no place on a family vacation. Caleb stopped drawing. He didn't look up. He didn't cry. He didn't ask what she meant. He just slowly closed his sketchbook and stared down at the table, like he was trying to disappear into it. No one said anything. My mother suddenly became very busy adjusting her napkin. My father turned the television up another notch. Lauren smirked and kept chewing. Something inside me snapped, but it didn't explode. It hardened. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't swear. I didn't beg anyone to defend my son. I said very calmly, no vacation. I'll cancel everything. Lauren blinked. She laughed again, louder this time. Wait, are you serious? She asked, like I'd just told a bad joke. I didn't answer. I stood up and started clearing the table, stacking plates, gathering silverware. My hands didn't shake. My heart didn't race. I felt strangely steady. My mom leaned in and whispered, Harriet, do you really mean that? I smiled. I didn't say a word. That night, after I tucked Caleb into bed and watched him fall asleep clutching his sketchbook, I logged into my account and canceled the entire trip. All of it. The cabins, the ski passes, the carefully arranged adaptive program. I lost the deposit. It hurt. But not as much as watching my son learn, in real time, exactly where he ranked in his own family. The text messages started the next morning. At first, they were clipped and sharp, like verbal eye rolls, typed out with thumbs that had never learned restraint. So we're canceling vacations over jokes now? You really need to grow up, Harriet. I didn't respond. A few minutes later, another one came through. Not my fault your kid can't handle a little teasing. That was the moment I blocked her. Not dramatically, not in anger. I stared at the screen for a few seconds longer than necessary, then tapped the button and set my phone face down on the counter. I didn't feel victorious. I felt tired. Tired in a way that sinks into your bones when you finally stop pretending something might change. Lauren had always been like this. When she crashed her car because she forgot to put it in park, my parents helped her buy a new one. When she missed her daughter's parent-teacher meeting, again, my mom called the school and made excuses. When she drifted from job to job, it was always because her bosses didn't appreciate her. The rules bent around her like she was made of something fragile and rare. And I was expected to understand. I always had. 3 days after I canceled the ski trip, I was folding laundry in the kitchen when I saw her pull into my driveway. No warning, no text. She leaned against her car like she owned the place, sunglasses still on despite the overcast sky, iced coffee in one hand, phone in the other. Like nothing had happened. Like she hadn't humiliated my child in front of our entire family. Caleb was on the couch, headphones on, completely absorbed in his drawing. I stepped outside and closed the door behind me. Lauren smiled, the same smile she used when she wanted something. "We need to talk," she said. "Everyone's confused about this drama." I asked her, flatly, what she meant when she said Caleb didn't belong on a family vacation. She rolled her eyes, gave a little shrug. "It was obviously a joke," she said. "You're being too sensitive, again." She told me I needed to stop treating Caleb like he was made of glass, that he needed to learn how to take a joke like everyone else's kids, that I was ruining winter plans over nothing. I told her to leave. She laughed, called me dramatic, said I was just bitter about something she couldn't even name. I didn't argue. I didn't explain. I went back inside and locked the door. She stood out there for a few minutes. I didn't watch. That night, my mom texted, "Can we talk soon?" I didn't reply. Then my dad called. "Maybe you and Lauren should clear the air before this gets out of hand." I let it go to voicemail. They didn't get it, or maybe they didn't want to. The next day, Lauren crossed a line I didn't think even she would cross. I was sitting in the pickup line at Caleb's school when I saw her standing near the entrance, arms folded, coat wide open despite the freezing wind. At first, I thought maybe she was picking up her daughter early. Then I realized she was waiting for me. I pulled forward slowly, hoping she'd move. She didn't. She stepped directly into the lane as I parked, standing right in front of my car like we were in some dramatic movie scene. I rolled the window down just enough to hear her. "We need to talk," she said. "You can't just cut me out like this." I told her to move. She didn't. That's when Caleb came out, holding his teacher's hand. His expression changed the second he saw her. He stopped walking, looked at me, then looked down at the sidewalk. I parked, got out, and walked straight to him without saying a word to her. Lauren followed us, still talking, still ranting about how I was tearing the family apart over one comment. I turned around. "You're not being erased," I said. "You're just not included anymore." She stopped mid-step. I buckled Caleb into his seat, got in the car, and drove away. That night, no one called. No guilt-tripping messages, no passive-aggressive voicemails, just silence. And for the first time, I realized something important. Lauren thought she was losing a vacation. She had no idea she was already locked out of something far bigger. Lauren didn't handle being shut out well. At first, it was quiet, almost suspiciously so. A full 24 hours passed without a single text, call, or drive-by. I knew better than to believe it would last. Silence with Lauren was never peace. It was pressure building. What she didn't know, what no one in my family knew, was that the ski trip wasn't the only thing I'd been planning all year. For nearly 12 months, I'd been building a business. Not casually, not as a fantasy. A real startup. One that required late nights after Caleb fell asleep and early mornings before my day job started. I read until my eyes burned. I wrote and rewrote business plans. I pitched, revised, pitched again. I drained my savings carefully, deliberately, knowing exactly how long I could last if nothing worked. A week before Lauren's comment at dinner, the paperwork came back. The LLC was official, and my name was the only one on it. Lauren had caught wind of the idea months earlier. She'd overheard me mention it to my mom once and immediately latched on. "This should be ours," she'd said, smiling like she'd already decided. "We're sisters." She had no experience, no skills to offer, no interest in the unglamorous parts, the research, the numbers, the risk. She just wanted her name on something successful. I never told her yes. She heard it anyway. 3 days after the scene at Caleb's school, she showed up at my house again. This time she didn't smile. She parked crooked in the driveway and sat in her car for a long minute before getting out. Caleb was in his room, door closed, music playing softly. I opened the door and stepped outside before she could knock. "You can't do this," she said, voice already shaking. "You can't just pretend I don't exist." "I'm not pretending," I said. "I'm choosing." That set her off. The text started that night. Then the voicemails, long ones, some tearful, some furious, all of them circling the same accusation, that I was selfish, that I was unfair, that I'd regret this. Then she brought up the business. "You're going to fail without me," she said in one voicemail. "You need me. You always have." I saved every message. By day 10, she started showing up without warning. Sometimes she brought coffee, like peace could be purchased. Once she brought her kids and talked loudly on my porch so the neighbors could hear how badly she wanted to reconcile with her sister. I never opened the door. Caleb noticed. He stopped bringing his sketchbook into the living room. He asked if we were eating dinner somewhere else. He stayed closer to me, like he could feel something wrong even when I tried to keep my voice steady. That's when I understood. Lauren wasn't confused. She wasn't sorry. She was desperate to get her control back. The night she finally lost it was a Thursday. Dinner was halfway done when headlights swept across the living room wall. My stomach tightened before I even looked. She didn't knock. She slammed her fist against the door, shouting my name. Caleb flinched. I stepped outside and closed the door behind me. You need to get over yourself, she snapped. You're tearing the family apart. Over what? I asked. She shrugged. A joke. I asked her to repeat exactly what she'd said about Caleb. She hesitated, then scoffed. He's a sweet kid, but he's different. You can't protect him forever. That was it. I told her to leave. She refused, said she wouldn't stay quiet when my business went public. I didn't hesitate. Go ahead, I said. You're not part of it. You never were. The realization hit her like a wave. I went inside and locked the door. She stayed outside for 10 minutes. I didn't look. Inside, Caleb finished his dinner. We watched a nature documentary before bed. And for the first time, I knew, whatever happened next, I wasn't backing down. Lauren unraveled faster than I expected. It started with silence again. 2 full days this time. No messages, no voicemails, no car in my driveway. I should have known better than to feel relieved. Lauren had never processed consequences quietly. She either escaped them or detonated. This time she detonated. It was early evening when my phone rang. My mom's name flashed across the screen. I almost ignored it. Almost. Something in my chest tightened in a way I'd learned not to dismiss. She came here, my mom said before I could say hello. I closed my eyes. Lauren had shown up at my parents' house unannounced, screaming, crying, accusing them of taking my side, demanding they fix this the way they always had. My dad tried to calm her down. My mom tried to reason with her. And then Caleb's name came up. According to my mom, Lauren laughed. Not nervously, not defensively. She laughed and said, "Oh my God, you're all acting like I punched the kid. He's just different." That was the moment something finally broke. My mom's voice shook when she told me this. She said she'd never heard herself speak the way she did next. Never heard that kind of finality come out of her own mouth. She told Lauren she was done excusing her behavior. Lauren screamed, threw something across the room, stormed out. An hour later, she came back and left her daughter on their front steps. No warning, no explanation, just dropped her off, rang the bell, and drove away. That was the final straw. My parents didn't chase after her. They didn't call me to ask what to do. They handled it. When Lauren came back the next day, furious and indignant, they didn't open the door. When she caused such a scene that a neighbor complained, they still didn't open it. For the first time in her life, no one rescued her. Days passed. No texts, no calls. Then, late one night, my phone buzzed. 3 words. I messed up. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I put my phone down and went to check on Caleb instead. He was asleep, his sketchbook open beside him, pencil still resting across the page. His breathing was slow and even. For once, the tension in the house was gone. The chaos wasn't humming beneath the walls. That week was peaceful. Caleb slept better. He started drawing again. He asked if we could go sledding at the park. And I realized something quietly profound. The silence wasn't empty. It was healing. The call came on a Wednesday afternoon, right as I was leaving work. The number was unfamiliar. I almost let it go to voicemail, but something made me answer. "Hi, is this Harriet Sharkey?" a woman asked. "Yes." "This is the coordinator from the adaptive ski program in Vermont. I'm calling because we received a rather large donation in your son's name." I stopped walking. "A donation?" I repeated. "Yes," she said. It was anonymous, but there was a note attached. It said, "For the kids who belong everywhere." My throat tightened. I thanked her, hung up, and sat in my car without starting the engine. I didn't need a signature to know who it was from. I didn't tell anyone, especially not Caleb. Redemption isn't something you announce. It's something you live quietly, without demanding applause. A few days later, Lauren came back. No phone call, no warning, just a soft knock on the door. I opened it this time. She stood there holding a brand new sketchbook. Caleb's name was written neatly on the cover in careful, unfamiliar handwriting. Her hair was pulled back. No makeup, no sunglasses, no performance. "I'm not here for forgiveness," she said quickly. "I know I don't get to ask for that." I waited. She swallowed. What I said about Caleb, it wasn't about him. It was about me, about feeling small, and I made him pay for it. I nodded, took the sketchbook, closed the door. That was it. I put it on Caleb's shelf later without saying a word. After that, things went quiet in a different way. No surprise visits, no texts, no pressure. Caleb slept through the night. The night terrors stopped. He started filling pages again, foxes, wolves, kids with backpacks and wide smiles. Weeks later, my parents invited us to dinner. Lauren wasn't there. The night was calm, almost gentle. Afterward, my dad admitted they should have stood up for me years ago. My mom didn't make excuses this time. She just said she was sorry. That was enough. The following weekend, Lauren sent one photo. A drawing from her daughter, a fox with a backpack, labeled Caleb's friend. No message, no expectations. I showed it to Caleb. He smiled. "She's getting better at drawing," he said, then went back to his comic. I didn't reply. Not because I was angry, but because I didn't need to anymore. Lauren was learning how to exist without forcing herself into the center of everything, and I was finally free to live my life without carrying her with me.